On a distant planet, the air was dry and the ground was rough. Kayla, a brave alien warrior girl, stood alone. Her heart felt heavy as she looked around at the empty land. Just a few days ago, she had fought side by side with her people. Now she was left all by herself. Kayla was not like other girls. She was strong and skilled in battle. Her long green hair flowed behind her like a river of leaves. Her eyes shone like stars, full of courage and determination. She wore armor made of tough materials, perfect for fighting. But now, all that strength felt useless. She felt abandoned. Her people had come to this planet to gather resources. They had planned to conquer it, but everything changed when they faced a fierce enemy. During the battle, things went wrong. The enemy was stronger than they expected. Kayla fought hard, but as she looked around, she saw her friends falling one by one. The noise of weapons clashing and the cries of her comrades filled the air. It was chaos. In the midst of the battle, Kayla had been told to retreat. "Get to the ship. We'll regroup there," her commander had shouted. She wanted to stay and fight, but they were outnumbered. As she turned to run, she glanced back. The last thing she saw was her friends fighting bravely, but she had to obey. She sprinted toward the ship, her heart pounding with fear. When she reached the ship, it was already taking off. She shouted and waved her arms, but it was too late. The ship soared into the sky, leaving her behind. Kayla felt a cold wave of panic wash over her. They had left her. She was alone. Now she wandered the strange landscape, trying to find shelter. The sun beat down on her, making her feel hot and tired. She searched for a place to hide. Finally, she found a cave, dark and cool. It wasn't much, but it would keep her safe from the sun and the creatures that roamed the planet. Inside the cave, Kayla took a deep breath. She closed her eyes and tried to calm her racing heart. "I am a warrior," she reminded herself. "I will survive." But deep inside, doubt crept in. How long could she last alone? She needed food and water, but where would she find them? As night fell, the cave became darker. Kayla heard strange sounds outside. The night creatures began to stir. She crouched in the shadows, listening closely. Her instincts told her to be alert. The creatures could be dangerous, and she had no one to help her. Suddenly, she heard a loud growl. Her heart raced as she prepared for a fight. The creature was close, and it was big. She could see its shadow moving outside the cave entrance. Kayla tightened her grip on her weapon, ready to defend herself. She had fought many battles, but this was different. She was alone, and the fear threatened to consume her. Just then, the creature stepped into the light. It was a massive beast with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. Kayla felt a wave of fear wash over her, but she stood her ground. She would not show weakness. With a swift movement, she raised her weapon, ready to strike. But before she could attack, the creature paused. It sniffed the air, sensing her presence. Kayla's heart pounded loudly in her chest. She knew she had to act fast. If she ran, it would chase her. If she fought, she had to win. With a burst of courage, Kayla charged forward, shouting a battle cry. The creature lunged at her, its jaws snapping. Kayla dodged to the side, striking its flank with her weapon. The creature howled in pain and turned to face her. She could see the anger in its eyes, but she was not afraid. Kayla fought fiercely, using all her skills. She moved like a shadow, striking quickly and retreating. The beast was strong, but she was smarter. After a long struggle, she managed to outmaneuver it. With one final blow, she brought it down. Breathing heavily, Kayla stood over the defeated creature. She felt a mix of pride and sadness. "I am still alive," she whispered to herself. But she also felt the weight of loneliness. She missed her friends, her home, and the warmth of their support. Kayla knew she had to keep moving. She needed to find food and water before it was too late. As she stepped out of the cave, she looked at the vast land before her. "I will find a way to survive," she declared, determination shining in her eyes. "I am a warrior." With renewed strength, Kayla set off into the darkness, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Alone, yes, but not defeated. She would survive and find her way back to her people, no matter what it took. The human crew. On a sleek ship floating in space, the human crew was busy preparing for their next mission. Captain Alex stood at the control panel, watching the stars twinkle outside the window. He was a strong leader with short brown hair and a kind smile. The crew respected him, but today, something felt different. "Captain, we have received a strange signal from a planet," Sarah, the communications officer, reported. She had bright red hair and quick fingers. Her eyes were wide with excitement and concern. "It's coming from the jungle planet we explored last month." "What does the signal say?" Alex asked. His interest piqued. He turned to face Sarah, his curiosity growing. "I'm not sure, sir. It sounds like someone is calling for help," she replied. "But the message is weak. We need to investigate." The crew gathered around the main screen. It showed the planet's surface, covered in thick green trees and bright colors. But beneath its beauty, danger lurked. Alex could feel the tension in the room. "Should we go?" Another crew member, Mark, asked. He was a tall man with a serious face. "The last time we were there, it was dangerous. What if we encounter those creatures again?" Alex nodded, remembering the fierce battle they had fought before. "I understand the risks, but we cannot ignore a call for help. Someone might be in trouble. We must check it out." The crew exchanged worried glances. They trusted Alex, but fear hung in the air. Finally, Sarah spoke up. "If we go, we need a solid plan. We should split into teams for safety." "Good idea," Alex agreed. "Let's gather our gear and prepare for the worst. We'll need weapons, medical supplies, and communication devices. Everyone, be ready to move in 30 minutes. As the crew members hurried to gather their things, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and fear. She had always wanted to help someone in need, but the thought of facing danger again made her stomach twist. She pushed her worries aside, focusing on the task at hand. Once they were ready, the ship's engines roared to life, and they set course for the jungle planet. As they traveled through space, Alex went over the plan again with the crew. "We will land near the signal source. One team will search the area for the person in trouble, while the other team will stay with the ship and keep it secure. We must be ready for anything." When they landed, the air was thick and humid. The jungle was alive with sounds, chirping insects, rustling leaves, and distant animal calls. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. This was a different world, full of life and danger. "Team A will follow me to find the signal," Alex instructed. He led Sarah and Mark into the jungle, pushing through the dense vegetation. The trees towered above them, their leaves creating a green canopy. As they moved deeper into the jungle, they faced challenges. Vines wrapped around their legs, and insects buzzed around their heads. They pushed forward, determined to reach the source of the signal. "Stay close, everyone," Alex warned. "We need to stick together." Meanwhile, Team B stayed with the ship. Their job was to keep watch and be ready for an emergency. Emily, a quick thinker and the ship's engineer, kept an eye on the scanners. "If anything goes wrong, we'll be ready," she said confidently. Back in the jungle, Alex's team finally found a clearing. "The signal is stronger here," Sarah said, pointing to her device. "We must be close." Suddenly, a loud growl echoed through the trees. The ground shook as a massive creature charged at them. It was the same kind they had encountered before, big, with sharp teeth and fierce eyes. The team instinctively took their weapons out, ready to fight. "Get back," Alex shouted, raising his weapon. They prepared for battle, but the creature hesitated. It sniffed the air, sensing their presence. "Maybe it's just curious," Mark suggested, trying to keep calm. "We don't want to start a fight if we don't have to." But Alex knew better. "Stay alert. We can't take any chances." Just then, the creature lunged at them. Alex and his team fired their weapons, hitting the creature and making it retreat. "Let's move," Alex yelled. They ran deeper into the jungle, dodging branches and vines. The creature followed, angry and determined. As they ran, they spotted a cave ahead. "In there," Sarah shouted. They dashed inside, hoping to lose the creature. The cave was dark and cool, a stark contrast to the heat outside. Inside, they paused to catch their breath. "What now?" Mark asked, looking around. They could hear the creature growling outside, waiting for them. Alex thought quickly. "We need to find another way out. We can't stay here." Just as he spoke, they heard a faint sound from deeper in the cave. It was a voice, a call for help. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with hope. "Yes," Alex replied, his heart racing. "We need to find out who it is." With renewed determination, they moved further into the cave. The growls of the creature faded as they focused on the voice, knowing they were getting closer to someone in need. Kayla's battle. Kayla woke up in her cave, feeling tired but determined. The sun shone through the entrance, casting bright light on the cold ground. She stretched her arms and reminded herself that she was still alive. She needed to find food and water, and maybe a way to get back to her people. As she stepped outside, the air felt fresh and cool. The jungle was alive with sounds, birds chirping, insects buzzing, and the distant rustle of animals. Kayla took a deep breath, filling her lungs with the smell of wet earth and green leaves. She had to keep moving, but she felt a little hope for the first time since being left behind. Kayla started her journey through the jungle. She moved carefully, listening to every sound. She knew there were dangerous creatures out there, but she was a warrior. Her training had prepared her for this. She walked quietly, her senses sharp. After some time, Kayla spotted a small stream trickling through the trees. Excited, she rushed to the water and knelt down. She cupped her hands and drank deeply. The cool water tasted refreshing. She felt stronger already. After drinking, she looked around for food. Her eyes caught sight of some fruit hanging from a nearby tree. Kayla climbed the tree easily, using her strong arms and legs. She reached for the bright red fruit and plucked it from the branch. Holding it in her hands, she felt proud. This would be a good meal. She took a bite, and the sweet juice ran down her chin. It was delicious. Just as she was about to eat another piece, a loud noise made her freeze. Kayla's heart raced as she listened carefully. It sounded like something big was moving through the bushes. She climbed down quickly, clutching her weapon tightly. Suddenly, a large creature burst from the underbrush. It had dark fur and sharp claws. Its eyes glowed with hunger. Kayla recognized it immediately. It was one of the beasts she had fought before, the one that almost defeated her. Without thinking, she stepped back and raised her weapon. The creature growled low, its teeth bared. Kayla's body tensed, ready for the fight. She remembered her training and focused on the task at hand. "I will not back down," she whispered to herself. The creature lunged at her with incredible speed. Kayla dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding its sharp claws. She struck back, aiming for its leg. Her weapon hit its target, but the creature was still strong. It howled in anger and turned to face her again. Kayla felt a rush of adrenaline. She could not let fear take over. She was a warrior, and she would fight. She charged at the creature, swinging her weapon with all her strength. It collided with the beast, making it stagger back. But the creature was relentless. It regained its balance and rushed at her once more. Kayla jumped aside, but this time it was too quick. The creature caught her arm with its claws. Pain shot through her body, but she gritted her teeth and pushed through it. She could not give up. With a fierce shout, Kayla swung her weapon again. This time, she aimed for the creature's head. The blow landed hard, and the creature let out a deafening roar. It stumbled backward, its eyes wide with surprise. Kayla saw her chance. "Now!" she yelled, her voice filled with determination. She moved in quickly, aiming to finish the fight. With one final powerful swing, she struck the creature down. It collapsed on the ground, no longer a threat. Breathing heavily, Kayla stood over the defeated beast. Sweat dripped down her forehead, and pain throbbed in her arm, but she felt victorious. "I did it," she whispered, pride swelling in her chest. She had faced her fears and won. But she knew this was not the end. The jungle was full of dangers, and she needed to keep moving. With a deep breath, Kayla turned away from the fallen creature. She looked around, trying to remember which way she had come. She couldn't stay here for long. As she made her way deeper into the jungle, she heard strange noises in the distance. They were different from the growls and screeches she was used to. Curious, Kayla followed the sounds, moving quietly among the trees. After a short walk, she reached a clearing. There she saw something unexpected, a group of strange beings, unlike anything she had ever seen. They were small and looked a bit like her people, but they had odd clothing and devices she could not understand. Kayla felt a mix of excitement and fear. Are they friends or foes? She wondered. She wanted to approach, but caution held her back. Just then, one of the beings pointed at her and shouted something. Kayla's heart raced. She had to decide quickly. Should she fight or try to communicate? She took a step forward, raising her weapon but keeping it lowered. "I mean no harm," she called out, hoping they could understand her. The beings looked surprised. They began to back away, but Kayla held her ground. She was ready for anything. Whatever happened next, she would face it head-on. After all, she was a warrior, and warriors never back down from a challenge. Searching for Kayla. Back in the jungle, Alex and his team moved deeper into the cave, their hearts pounding with both fear and hope. They had heard a voice calling for help, and now they needed to find its source. Each step echoed in the dark space, and the air felt heavy with tension. "Stay close," Alex whispered. "We don't know what we'll find in here." He led the way, his weapon raised and ready. Sarah followed closely, her eyes wide with anticipation. Mark brought up the rear, watching for any signs of danger. As they walked further, the sound of the voice became clearer. It was a soft cry, almost like a song carried by the wind. "This way," Sarah said, pointing ahead. The voice seemed to call them, urging them to hurry. They turned a corner and entered a larger chamber. The walls glimmered with strange crystals, casting colorful lights all around. In the center of the room, they saw a figure lying on the ground. "Is that her?" Mark asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "It looks like it," Sarah replied, rushing forward. Alex followed, his heart racing. As they got closer, they saw that it was a girl, an alien girl with green hair and glowing eyes. She was beautiful but looked hurt and weak. "Kayla," Alex called out. The girl opened her eyes, surprised to see them. She tried to sit up but winced in pain. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice shaky. "We're here to help you," Alex said, kneeling beside her. "What happened? Are you okay?" Kayla looked at him with a mix of confusion and relief. "I'm fine, just a little hurt. I was left behind by my people during a battle," she explained. "I've been alone for days, fighting to survive." "We heard your call for help," Sarah said, her eyes filled with sympathy. "We thought you might be in danger." Kayla nodded, grateful for their presence. "I am in danger. I fought a creature, and it hurt me. But I won," she added, trying to sound brave. Alex smiled. "You're strong. We could see that. Now we need to get you out of here. Can you walk?" Kayla hesitated. "I can try," she replied, pushing herself to her feet. She winced again, but she stood tall. "Thank you for coming for me." As they began to leave the cave, a loud noise echoed from behind them. They all turned to see the creature Kayla had fought earlier. It was back, angry and ready to attack. It charged at them, teeth bared. "Get back!" Alex shouted, raising his weapon. The creature was huge, and its eyes were filled with fury. Kayla stepped in front of the others, her own weapon ready. "I can fight it again," she declared, her voice strong despite her injuries. "No," Alex said firmly. "You're hurt. We need to escape." He glanced around the cave, looking for a way out. "Sarah, can you cover us?" "On it," Sarah replied, aiming her weapon at the creature. As it lunged at them, she fired, hitting it in the side. The creature howled in pain but kept coming. "Run," Alex yelled, pushing Kayla ahead of him. They raced through the cave, the sounds of the creature chasing them growing louder. Kayla felt a rush of fear, but she was determined to escape. They ran through narrow passages and past shimmering crystals, their hearts racing. Kayla felt a wave of gratitude for her new friends. They were risking their lives for her. "Thank you," she whispered to Alex as they ran. "I didn't think anyone would come for me." "We're a team," Alex replied, glancing back to see the creature still on their trail. "We won't leave anyone behind." Suddenly, they reached a dead end. A large rock wall blocked their path. Kayla's heart sank. "What do we do?" she asked, panic rising in her voice. "Look for a way out," Mark shouted, searching frantically. The creature was getting closer, its growls echoing in the cave. "There has to be another exit." Alex turned to Kayla. "Can you help us? You know this place better than we do." Kayla nodded, taking a deep breath to focus. She scanned the walls, looking for any hidden passage. "Over here," she called, pointing to a narrow crack in the rock. "We can fit through there." Without hesitation, they rushed toward the crack. "Let's go," Alex urged. One by one, they squeezed through, Kayla going last. Just as she slipped through, the creature reached the wall, roaring in frustration. They emerged on the other side, gasping for breath. They were outside again, the sun shining brightly overhead. The jungle was thick, and they had to move quickly. "We need to find cover," Sarah said, looking around. Kayla led them into the dense underbrush, where they could hide. They crouched low, listening for the creature. It howled in anger, but they were safe. For now. As they caught their breath, Kayla looked at her new friends. "Thank you for saving me," she said, tears in her eyes. "I thought I was alone forever." "You're not alone anymore," Alex replied with a smile. "We're here for you. We'll get through this together." Kayla felt a warmth in her heart. For the first time since being left behind, she felt hope. They had found her, and now they would fight together. "We need a plan," Mark said, breaking the silence. "That creature won't give up easily." Kayla nodded, determination returning. "I know this jungle well. We can use it to our advantage. If we work together, we can defeat it." With new resolve, they began to strategize, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would find a way to survive. Meeting the warrior. The sun hung high in the sky, its warm rays filtering through the thick leaves of the jungle. Kayla, Alex, Sarah, and Mark crouched low among the bushes, their hearts racing as they tried to come up with a plan. The sounds of the jungle surrounded them, a mix of birds singing and the rustling of leaves. "We need to find a way to distract that creature," Mark said, his eyes scanning the area. "If it follows us, we'll be in trouble." Kayla nodded, her mind racing. "I have an idea," she said. "I know a place nearby. It's a natural pit where the creatures fall in. If we can lure it there, we might trap it." "Where is this pit?" Alex asked, intrigued. "It's a short distance from here, but we have to move quickly," Kayla replied, her voice steady. "If we can create a noise to draw it away from us, we can lead it to the pit." "Okay, let's do it," Alex said, feeling the surge of determination in the group. "Kayla, lead the way." Kayla took a deep breath and started moving through the jungle, her friends close behind. They navigated the thick underbrush, moving carefully to avoid making noise. Kayla felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was her chance to show her strength and bravery. After a few minutes, they reached the pit. It was a deep hole, surrounded by steep walls. "This is it," Kayla said, pointing to the pit. "We need to make a sound loud enough to draw it here." Mark looked around and spotted some large rocks. "We can throw these," he suggested. "If we make enough noise, it might come after us." "Great idea," Alex said. "Let's do it. We need to be quick." They gathered rocks and positioned themselves at the edge of the pit. Kayla took a deep breath, focusing on the task ahead. She glanced back, making sure the creature was not close yet. "When I say go, we throw the rocks and run back into the jungle," she instructed. Everyone nodded, ready for action. "Go," Kayla shouted. They threw the rocks into the pit, and the sound echoed loudly through the jungle. Just then, a terrifying roar erupted from behind them. The creature had arrived, furious and ready to attack. Kayla's heart raced as she turned to run, her friends following closely behind. The creature's heavy footsteps thudded behind them, growing closer. "Faster," Alex shouted, urging them on. Kayla led the way, dodging branches and jumping over fallen logs. She could hear the creature gaining on them, its breath heavy and fierce. They reached the edge of the pit, and Kayla glanced back. The creature was right behind them, its eyes filled with rage. "Now," she yelled, and they all dove to the side as the creature lunged forward. The beast ran straight into the pit, roaring in confusion as it fell. The sound of its body hitting the ground echoed in the jungle. Kayla and her friends peered over the edge, breathing heavily. "Did it work?" Mark asked, his eyes wide with shock. "Yes, it's trapped," Kayla replied, feeling a rush of relief. "We did it." But their victory was short-lived. The creature thrashed around in the pit, angered and desperate to escape. Its growls were loud and filled with fury. Kayla realized they couldn't stay there long. "We need to get to safety," she urged. "It could find a way out." Alex nodded. "Let's go. We can find a safe place to regroup and plan our next move." They hurried away from the pit, the sounds of the creature fading behind them. As they moved deeper into the jungle, Kayla felt a sense of pride. They had faced a dangerous creature and worked together to defeat it. She was not alone anymore. After a while, they came across a small clearing. The sunlight poured in, creating a warm and inviting space. "This will do," Alex said, glancing around. "Let's take a moment to catch our breath." They sat down on the grass, their hearts still racing. Kayla looked at her friends, grateful for their support. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly. "I couldn't have done it without you." Mark smiled. "We're a team now. We take care of each other." Suddenly, a noise caught their attention. From the edge of the clearing, a figure emerged. It was another warrior, tall and strong, with fierce eyes and a confident stance. Kayla's heart raced again. "Who is that?" she whispered. The new warrior stepped forward, looking at Kayla with curiosity. "I heard the noise and came to see what happened," the warrior said. "Are you okay?" Kayla stood up, her heart pounding. "I am Kayla, and these are my friends. We fought a creature that attacked us." The warrior nodded, impressed. "You're brave to stand against such beasts. I am Zarek, a warrior of this jungle. I have seen many battles." Kayla felt a spark of excitement. "Thank you for coming. We could use more help. That creature is still a threat." Zarek looked at her with respect. "I can help you. I know the jungle well, and together we can ensure that creature does not harm anyone else." Kayla smiled, feeling a sense of hope. "Thank you, Zarek. We would be honored to have you join us." As they discussed their next steps, Kayla realized that they had formed a powerful alliance. With Zarek's strength and their teamwork, they could face any challenge. Kayla felt stronger than ever, ready to fight for her new friends and for her survival. They spent the rest of the day planning their strategy, each of them bringing their skills to the table. Together, they would face the dangers of the jungle, united in their fight against the threats that lurked within. Kayla knew that with her friends by her side, she was never truly alone. The bonds they formed would carry them through the battles ahead, and she felt a renewed sense of purpose. They would defeat the creature and protect the jungle they all called home. Teaming up, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the jungle. Kayla, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Zarek sat together in the clearing, discussing their plan to deal with the creature that had terrorized them. The air was filled with a mix of excitement and determination. They knew they had to work together to overcome the danger. Kayla looked at her new friends. "We need to be smart about this. The creature is strong, but if we work as a team, we can trap it for good." Zarek nodded, his eyes shining with confidence. "I know this jungle well. I can guide you to the places where the creature likes to hunt. We can set a trap there." "Good idea," Alex said, feeling encouraged. "What do we need for the trap?" "First, we need to gather some strong vines," Zarek explained. "We can use them to create a net. Then, we need some bait to lure the creature into our trap." "I can help with the bait," Sarah volunteered. "I've seen some small animals in this area. We can use them to draw the creature in." Kayla smiled, grateful for their teamwork. "Let's split up. Zarek and I will look for vines, while Alex and Sarah find the bait. We'll meet back here in an hour." The group quickly agreed and set off in different directions. Kayla felt a rush of excitement. This was the first time she had a team to rely on, and it made her feel stronger. Zarek led Kayla through the dense jungle. As they moved, he pointed out different plants and trees. "These vines are perfect for our trap," he said, showing her a thick, green vine hanging from a tall tree. "Let's take as much as we can carry," Kayla replied, climbing up to grab the vines. She felt a sense of purpose as she worked alongside Zarek. They worked quickly, gathering the vines and tying them together into a long, sturdy rope. After a while, they had collected enough vines to create a strong net. "This should work well," Kayla said, admiring their work. "Now let's get back to the clearing and see how Alex and Sarah are doing." Meanwhile, Alex and Sarah were busy searching for animals to use as bait. They moved quietly through the underbrush, listening for any signs of small creatures. After a short walk, Sarah spotted some small birds perched on a low branch. "There they are," she whispered excitedly. "We can use these birds to lure the creature." "Let's be careful," Alex said, pulling out a small net. "We don't want to scare them away." Together, they moved slowly and quietly, trying to catch a couple of the birds. After several attempts, they succeeded in catching 2 small birds. Sarah held them gently, making sure they were calm. "We should head back to meet Kayla and Zarek," Alex said, feeling pleased with their success. "We have the bait." When they returned to the clearing, they found Kayla and Zarek waiting for them. Kayla's face lit up when she saw the birds. "You found the bait," she exclaimed. "Great job." "We have everything we need," Zarek said, laying out the vines. "Now we just have to set the trap. Let's find a good spot near the pit where the creature fell." The team quickly gathered their supplies and headed back to the pit. As they approached, the sounds of the jungle faded, replaced by a sense of urgency. They knew they had to act fast before the creature escaped. "This is the perfect spot," Zarek said, pointing to an area near the edge of the pit. "We can hide the net here, and when the creature comes for the bait, we can pull it up." They worked together to set up the trap, carefully hiding the net under leaves and branches. Kayla felt a thrill of excitement as they finished. "It's ready," she said, stepping back to admire their work. "Now we wait," Alex said, his heart pounding. They all took positions behind nearby trees, watching the bait and the trap closely. Time seemed to stretch as they waited in silence, their hearts racing. Kayla felt nervous but also determined. "We can do this," she whispered to herself, reminding herself of the strength of her team. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they heard a rustling noise from the jungle. Kayla's heart skipped a beat as she spotted the creature approaching, its eyes locked on the bait. "It's coming," she whispered urgently. The creature sniffed the air, its powerful body moving closer to the trap. Kayla held her breath, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Get ready," she hissed to her friends. As the creature reached the bait, it lunged for the birds. In that split second, Zarek and Alex sprang into action. "Now," Zarek shouted, pulling the vines with all his strength. The net flew up, catching the creature by surprise. It thrashed and roared, trying to break free, but the trap held strong. Kayla felt a surge of triumph as they succeeded in their plan. "It's working." Sarah cheered, her eyes wide with excitement. "We did it." The creature struggled against the net, but it was trapped. Kayla and her friends exchanged triumphant glances, their faces filled with relief and joy. They had worked together and achieved what they set out to do. "Now we just have to keep it contained until we can figure out what to do next," Alex said, catching his breath. Kayla nodded, feeling a mix of pride and gratitude for her team. They had become a true unit, relying on each other's strengths to face the challenges ahead. Together, they could overcome anything. As they stood there, watching the creature thrash in the trap, Kayla realized that she had found not just friends but a family. They would fight for each other, and together they would protect their home. With newfound strength, they began to discuss their next steps. They knew the battle was not over, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. United as a team, they were unstoppable. Victory and choice. The creature struggled violently in the net, its fierce roars echoing through the jungle. Kayla, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Zarek stood nearby, watching with a mix of excitement and caution. They had successfully trapped the beast, but they knew their work was not finished. "Now what do we do?" Mark asked, glancing at the creature. Its eyes glared at them, filled with anger and fear. Kayla took a deep breath. "We need to decide what to do next. This creature is dangerous, but it is also a part of this jungle. We have to be careful." Zarek nodded. "I have seen many creatures like this before. They often act out of fear or hunger. If we can calm it, we might understand why it attacked us." "Calm it?" Sarah exclaimed. "How can we do that? It looks like it wants to eat us." "I know it is hard to believe," Zarek replied. "But sometimes showing a creature kindness can change everything. We must approach it slowly and carefully." Kayla felt a surge of hope. "If we can communicate with it, maybe it will stop attacking our village. We have to try." They all agreed, and together they moved closer to the creature. Kayla stepped forward, her heart racing. "We're not here to hurt you," she said softly. "We just want to understand." The creature's eyes narrowed, but it stopped thrashing. Kayla noticed it was listening, its breathing heavy but calmer. "We only want to help. Can you understand us?" Zarek moved beside her. "We are not your enemies. We saved you from falling into a deeper pit. Please, tell us why you are so angry." To their surprise, the creature's expression changed slightly. It tilted its head, as if trying to understand. Kayla felt a glimmer of hope. "See, it's listening," she whispered to her friends. After a few moments, the creature let out a low growl. It seemed to be communicating in its own way. "It might not be able to speak like us, but it can show us its feelings," Mark said. Kayla took a step back, allowing the creature some space. "We mean you no harm. We want to make peace. Please tell us what you need." Slowly, the creature's breathing began to calm. It stopped struggling against the net, and its fierce glare softened. Kayla could see a hint of fear in its eyes, and it struck her that this creature was not just a monster. It was a being who had faced its own struggles. As they continued to watch, the creature made a low noise, almost like a whine. "I think it's trying to communicate," Sarah said, stepping closer. "Maybe it's scared." Kayla nodded. "Let's give it some time." They stood in silence, hoping the creature would feel safe enough to share its feelings. Minutes passed, and the jungle around them was filled with the sounds of nature. Then, unexpectedly, the creature turned its head toward Kayla. It locked its gaze onto hers, and she felt a connection forming. "It's looking at you," Zurich said quietly. "I think it senses your kindness." Taking a deep breath, Kayla decided to take a risk. She moved even closer, reaching out her hand toward the creature. "It's okay. I won't hurt you," she said softly. To her surprise, the creature lowered its head, allowing Kayla to touch its snout gently. A wave of warmth flowed through her. "You're not a monster," she whispered. "You're just scared and alone." Suddenly, the creature's body relaxed, and it let out a long sigh. Kayla felt her heart soar with hope. They had made a breakthrough. The creature was not just an enemy. It was a living being with its own fears. "Now that we have calmed it, we need to figure out what to do next," Alex said, watching the creature carefully. "Do we keep it here or set it free?" Kayla thought for a moment. "We need to consider the village. If we let it go, it might return and attack again. But if we keep it, we could help it find a new home." Zarek chimed in. "If we can help it find food and a safe place, it may not feel the need to attack. This jungle has enough space for all of us." "Let's take it back to the village and see if the others agree," Mark suggested. "If they see how calm it is now, they might change their minds." The team nodded, agreeing on the next steps. They carefully untangled the net, allowing the creature to stand free. It looked at Kayla, and she smiled gently, encouraging it to trust her. "Come on," she said softly, motioning for it to follow. "We will find you a safe place." The creature hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped forward, following Kayla and her friends as they made their way back to the village. As they walked, Kayla felt a sense of pride swell within her. They had faced fear together and created a bridge of understanding. When they reached the village, the sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the people gathered. Kayla could see the shock on their faces as they noticed the creature beside her. "Everyone, please listen," Kayla called out. "This creature is not our enemy. We calmed it down, and it has shown us it just wants to be safe." The villagers murmured among themselves, unsure of what to think. Kayla took a deep breath, her heart racing. She knew this was a moment of choice, a chance to show everyone the power of compassion. "We can either choose to fear it or choose to understand it," she continued. "Together, we can help it find a new home where it will not attack us." Some villagers began to nod, and others looked uncertain. Kayla felt Zarek's supportive presence beside her, encouraging her to keep speaking. "Let's give it a chance," Zarek said, stepping forward. "We have seen what kindness can do. This creature deserves to live in peace, just like us." After a tense moment, the village elder stepped forward, considering their words. "If we can find a way to keep our village safe while helping this creature, then we shall try." With that, the villagers began to discuss ideas for how to coexist peacefully with the creature. Kayla felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had turned fear into understanding. As the night fell and the stars began to twinkle above, Kayla looked at her friends. They had fought hard for this moment. Together, they had faced danger and emerged victorious, proving that compassion could bring even the fiercest beings together. In that moment, Kayla realized that their journey was just beginning. They had made a choice, to choose kindness over fear, understanding over hatred. And with her friends by her side, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together they could overcome anything.